Hello everyone and welcome back to Axon Gamers. My name's Senkai and today I'm going to review this game right here, Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon on 3DS. This game was supposed to come out on 3DS and PS Vita exclusively as this like mini 8-bit game for the full game called Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which is a Kickstarter. One of the Kickstarter stretch goals was to have this game made, which was pretty nice that not only did we reach it, but we got the game and it was really good, so let's get to it. So as for this review, where do I start? I just want to say that I mentioned that the game was going to be exclusive for PS Vita and 3DS. However, they decided to port the game as well to PS4, Xbox One and Steam, so there are a bunch of systems you can play this on, and I highly recommend the game. So it's also out for the Switch, so there's that. So the game is made by Inti Creates, and they most recently made games, two games in particular, called Blaster Master Zero and Mighty Gunvolt Burst. Those two are 8-bit games. One is like a remake of sorts for a NES game called Blaster Master, and the other one is just a like 2D remake of Mighty Number 9. Still, what I'm trying to say here is that Inti Creates seems to know how to create these brand new modern 8-bit games, as those two games are both fairly good. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon though is perfection when it comes to that kind of style. I enjoyed this game much more and actually did go all the way through and 100% of the game. It took me somewhere between 10 and 11 hours. I'm not sure exactly how long, but I would say 11 hours. Because the game consists of, if you're gonna complete it, it's 4 playthroughs at least, and then there's a boss rush mode, which took me at least an hour or two to fully master all the bosses. It's quite challenging, I have to say. Yes, so this is a 2D side-scrolling game, very much like the old Castlevania games on NES, especially Castlevania 3. So it controls the same, it looks pretty much the same, but it obviously uses the music and the enemies and characters from the upcoming Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. However, because it's so purely based on Castlevania on the NES, it is this side-scrolling action game where you can more or less just jump, attack, and use your sub-weapons. So what's new here, or rather what they took from Castlevania 3 that's different from the other in the series, is that you can unlock more characters, and when you do, they have new attacks and new sub-weapons, so the variety gets pretty good, I have to say. And so let's see here, where do I start? I want to talk about the branching paths first, because in one of my favorite Castlevania games, Rondo of Blood, in that game you have branching paths, so depending on where you end up in the level, you will beat or you will face different bosses, and depending on how you end the stage, you're gonna get to a different level next. In this game, the levels are set, so you have your level 1, 2, 3 and so on, and the branching paths in the levels are just to adjust the difficulty or change up what items you get. Sometimes they are hidden like upgrades specific to a certain path. So what you can do is you use this mechanic called Curse of the Moon in the game, where you go back. You lose all your progress, but you get the chance to actually go back and redo a stage if you feel like you want to like try out something new or see if you missed something major. When you beat the game, there are 2 different outcomes. So I talked about how you can recruit characters, and the thing is that you start off with this character called Zangetsu, I think, and he's this samurai, and he's on this mission to defeat all demons, and he need all the power he can get. So either you recruit these characters to aid him on his journey to defeat all the demons, or you actually kill those recruits and you gain their power for him to be even stronger to maybe defeat all demons that way. So there are different ways you can do this, and every time you offer a recruit, you get a new ability for Zangetsu. And I thought it was really cool how, when he was fully powered up, he played a bit more similar to the Metroidvania Castlevania titles. So while this was at first very much like Castlevania 3, especially with the slower gameplay and the like tight jumps that you really have to commit to. When you upgrade Zangetsu, you can double jump and stuff, so you can jump forward, attack, and then you can retreat while in the air. And it also changes up the platforming as well. So playing the game like that, upgrading just him, it really changes how the game plays, and it really changes how the game ends as well. But I'm not gonna spoil any of the endings or what happens. But what I do want to tell you is that if you play the game with your full party and you recruit everyone, you do get a different ending, and you also unlock a new mode called Nightmare Mode, which is basically a sequel to that ending. So you replay the game in Nightmare Mode, where the story just moves on and it continues from that ending. If you beat the entire game on Nightmare, continuing the story, you are in for a surprise. There are some really nice things at the end there. More content and some excellent stuff. I think the finale was well worth it, even though you had to beat the game twice. And if you did go for the route where you don't recruit anybody, you have to beat the game 3 times, obviously, to get this particular ending I'm talking about. There is a 4th ending and a 4th playthrough. So when you beat the game as Zangetsu only by offering the recruits, you do unlock a mode called Ultimate Mode, and that's where you get to replay the whole game with all the abilities you unlocked throughout the playthrough, and a new attack as well, which was pretty cool, exclusive to this mode. But since you have all those abilities from the get-go, in this mode you can actually recruit all the characters and have like this perfect save data, which I thought was pretty cool. The music is really good as well. That's something I just want to mention before I wrap this up. The music is, I think it's made by the same creator who did the music for the Castlevania series, and so it's very similar, but not just similar, but really good. It's some really good 8-bit music that really fits the style of the game, and even if you're not a fan of Castlevania, I still want to say that you should give this game a shot, because it's really cheap and it's out for all those systems I mentioned, especially the Switch, because the Nintendo Switch is a system that I start to feel that I want more games for, and this is a really good one. So yeah, definitely. As far as the boss rush goes, I think you unlock the boss rush mode after 3 playthroughs. I got it at the same time where I unlocked the ultimate mode, and boss rush is usually just playing the game, but exclusively the boss fights. That's usually boss rush in most other games. In this one, it is like that, but in between the boss fights you get to like pick your upgrades. The thing is, the upgrades you pick in boss rush, they do not respawn, so you have to choose like, I want this upgrade on this boss and that upgrade on like 2 bosses away from now, so I have to save it and stuff like that. It was really interesting and very challenging, I have to say. But I did beat those 4 playthroughs, I did beat boss rush, and so I'm really happy with this game. And yeah, I don't know what more I can say about the game. It's pretty cool, because some of the characters you unlock in the game that you play as are characters I've seen in trailers for the real game, like Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, and Miriam, which is like the main character of that game, is also playable in this one, so I thought that was very, very interesting. And the exclusive abilities and weapons for the different characters are also, I think, present in the main game. So yeah, really, really cool stuff. And while this is a very cheap game and not the longest, well, I did get 10 hours out of it, so I can't complain really. I think it was a great experience, and there are 2 difficulty modes. There are veteran and casual. I played on veteran, and I think it was balanced perfectly fine. Boss rush was more on the like extreme difficulty side, because you couldn't like refill your HP too many times and stuff like that. It was very, very challenging. But if you play the main game on veteran, you're still gonna replenish your health like when you beat a stage and stuff like that. It was very fair, and I highly recommend you play the game on that difficulty and actually learn all the mechanics and stuff, because this is one of those old school games, and there's not much more than the mechanics and the challenge. So don't go waste that opportunity of a lot of fun in the game, because while the story was interesting and the game looks fine and everything, the music was awesome, I think the challenge is a huge part of the game overall. So yeah, enjoy it as much as you can, like I did. I don't know what else to say about the game. I had a blast, and I mean, I played it so many times, and I actually did everything in the game that I felt that I really had to go on here and talk about it. Not that there's so much to say about it, and I feel like if you watch like a trailer for the game, I watched the trailer when they first announced it, and I felt like already there I know exactly what this game was gonna be. But there were a few surprises, so even if you feel like you know exactly what kind of game this is, play it for sure, because there's a lot to like in Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon. So that'll be it for my review. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, as always, until next time, get gaming.